The ambush. Captain Nadia Valentine had never seen space burn before. She stood frozen on the bridge of the UES horizon, watching as crimson fire bloomed silently against the void. Theseus Station's modular rings, home to 15,000 colonists, researchers, and support staff, disintegrated one by one, their fragments scattering like embers from a dying campfire. What the hell just happened? Nadia demanded, her voice cutting through the shocked silence of the bridge. Lieutenant Reed at the sensor station shook his head, fingers flying across his console. No warning, Captain. One moment everything was normal, the next, energy signatures off the charts. Nadia gripped the edge of her command chair. Give me a visual on what did this. Now. The main view screen shifted focus, zooming past the spreading debris field to reveal 5 sleek vessels moving in perfect formation. Their hulls resembled polished obsidian with pulsing veins of blue light running along their length. They were unlike any ships in humanity's database. They're scanning us, reported Tactical Officer Devi Kapoor, her normally steady voice tinged with alarm. Captain, these ships, their weapon systems are beyond anything we've encountered. Power readings suggest they could vaporize us with a single volley. Chief Engineer Marcus Wong turned from his station. Should I bring the Charybdis drive online? We might be able to outrun them. Nadia hesitated. The Horizon was humanity's most advanced prototype vessel, equipped with experimental technology that hadn't yet been approved for the main fleet. The Charybdis drive, a revolutionary propulsion system, was untested in combat conditions. Using it might save them or tear the ship apart. Before she could respond, Lieutenant Harrison at communications straightened. Captain, we're being hailed. On screen, Nadia ordered, squaring her shoulders. The view screen flickered, revealing a being that sent an involuntary shiver down Nadia's spine. It appeared vaguely humanoid, but with skin that shifted like liquid mercury. Its eyes were vertical slits of deep indigo, and when it spoke, its mouth didn't move. Instead, the words seemed to emanate from its entire form. Human vessel. The entity's voice resonated with a metallic undertone. I am Sovereign the Rix of the Krell Ascendancy. Your species has ventured beyond its rightful boundaries. Your expansion ends today. Nadia stepped forward. This is Captain Nadia Valentine of the Earthship Horizon. You've attacked an unarmed research station without provocation or warning. Stand down immediately. The alien's form rippled in what might have been amusement. You misunderstand your position, Captain Valentine. We are not negotiating. The Krell Ascendancy has observed humanity for decades. You reproduce without restraint. You consume resources without thought. You spread like a disease. The quarantine begins now. On the view screen, Nadia could see more explosions blooming on the colony below Theseus Station. Civilian centers. Residential pods. They're targeting population centers, Devi reported, horror evident in her voice. Planetary defenses are overwhelmed. Your vessel appears unusual. The Rix continued. Perhaps worthy of study. Surrender, and your crew will be preserved for scientific examination. Nadia's mind raced. The Horizon carried 82 crew members. Below, on the colony, lived over 3 million people. Running men abandoning them to slaughter. Fighting men almost certain destruction against such advanced weaponry. You have 30 seconds to lower your shields, the Rix stated. After that, we will take your ship by force. Nadia muted the transmission and turned to her officers. Options. Now. The Charybdis drive gives us escape capability, Marcus said. We could reach Earth in 3 days, warn the fleet, and leave everyone here to die, Devi countered, her jaw tight. The Horizon's Prometheus cannons might penetrate their shields, Lieutenant Reed suggested. They're untested, but the theoretical models show they operate on phase-shifted energy that could bypass conventional defenses. Nadia made her decision. Marcus, prepare the Charybdis drive, but keep it offline until my mark. Devi, power up the Prometheus cannons but mask the energy signature. Harrison, prepare a broad-spectrum distress call to all human outposts. Reed, give me a vulnerabilities analysis on their lead ship. She reactivated the transmission. Sovereign the Rix, perhaps we can discuss terms. Our species has much to offer through peaceful exchange. The alien's form rippled again. Your time expires, Captain. Prepare to be boarded. Nadia cut the transmission. Execute attack pattern Valkyrie. Target their lead vessel's propulsion systems. Full power to forward shields. The Horizon surged forward, its experimental engines flaring bright against the darkness. The Krell ships, momentarily surprised by the aggressive maneuver, spread out to encircle the human vessel. "They're targeting us," Devi reported. "Multiple weapons locks. Evasive pattern Delta," Nadia ordered. "Marcus, how long until the Prometheus cannons are ready?" 20 seconds, Captain." The ship shuddered violently as the first Krell shots struck their shields. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Shield integrity at 68%, Reed called out. "One more direct hit like that and we're in trouble." 10 seconds, Marcus announced, his fingers dancing across his console. On the view screen, the massive Krell lead ship loomed larger, its weapons ports glowing with accumulated energy. "Fire," Nadia commanded. The horizon shuddered as blinding white-gold energy erupted from its forward section. The Prometheus cannon's beam struck the Krell vessel's midsection, momentarily warping the space around the impact point before cutting through the alien shields. "Direct hit," Devi exclaimed. "Their forward shields are down." "Fire again," Nadia ordered. "Target their weapons systems." The cannon discharged a second time, tearing deeper into the alien vessel. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull, the blue veins of light flickering erratically. "Captain," Harrison called out, "I'm receiving transmissions from the colony. The other Krell ships are breaking off their attack on the surface." The damaged Krell vessel began to retreat, its movement suddenly less coordinated. The other 4 ships moved to defensive positions around it. "They didn't expect us to hurt them," Nadia realized aloud. "Marcus, status of the Charybdis drive?" "Ready on your mark, Captain." Nadia studied the tactical display. They had surprised the Krell, but 5-to-1 odds remained suicide. "Take us out of here, maximum velocity. Set course for the Armstrong Nebula." As the horizon accelerated away from the damaged Krell fleet, Nadia knew this was just the beginning. One surprise attack wouldn't win a war, but it had bought precious time for the colony below and revealed a critical weakness in their enemy. "Harrison, send everything we've learned about their weapons and shields to Earth Command, Priority Alpha. Tell them." She paused, weighing her next words carefully. "Tell them we are at war, and we've found our first advantage." Behind them, the stars were momentarily eclipsed by the shapes of Krell ships in pursuit. The battle for humanity's future had begun. The counterstrike. Commander Eli Torres wiped blood from a gash above his eyebrow as the stolen Krell scout ship shuddered around him. 3 weeks of guerrilla warfare had taken their toll, on the ship and on him. Status report. He rasped to Lieutenant Zoe Okafor, who was hunched over the alien navigation console. "We've lost them," she confirmed, her fingers moving with practiced efficiency across the interface that had once seemed so alien. "The nebula's radiation is masking our signature." Eli nodded and turned to the makeshift tactical station where technical specialist Ryota Tanaka monitored their pursuers. The young engineer had proven invaluable in deciphering Krell technology. "Their patrol formation suggests they're still searching," Ryota observed, "but they're moving away from our position." "Good," Eli said. "Transmit our success to the horizon." When Captain Valentine had chosen Eli to lead this high-risk mission, he'd questioned her judgment. Now, 3 weeks later, his team had destroyed 7 Krell supply vessels, disabled 2 communication relays, and gathered critical intelligence on the enemy's capabilities. "Commander," called Medical Officer Wade Shun from the rear of the cramped bridge. "Ensign Jackson needs attention." Eli moved to where the young security officer lay on a makeshift cot. Jackson had taken a Krell energy pulse to his shoulder during their last boarding action. "How are you holding up, Ensign?" Eli asked quietly. "Ready for the next fight, sir," Jackson managed through gritted teeth. Wade shook his head slightly at Eli. Jackson wouldn't be fighting anyone soon. The comm system chimed with an incoming transmission. Lieutenant Okafor patched it through, and Captain Valentine's face appeared on the screen. Despite the encrypted channel's distortion, Eli could see the fatigue etched around her eyes. "Torres," she acknowledged, "your team's work has been exceptional. The attacks have forced the Krell to divert resources from their planetary assault." "Thank you, Captain." The Krell remain overconfident. They still haven't adapted to our hit-and-run tactics. "That may change soon," Valentine warned. "We've intercepted communications indicating they're bringing reinforcements, a much larger fleet arriving in approximately 10 days. The bridge fell silent. They had been barely holding their own against the current Krell forces. "We've analyzed the data you recovered from their communication relay," Valentine continued. "Chief Engineer Wong believes he's identified a critical vulnerability in their network architecture. Ryota leaned forward eagerly. Is it their quantum entanglement protocol? I noticed irregularities in their transmission patterns. Precisely, Valentine confirmed. The Krell operate on a hive-like command structure. Individual ships have limited autonomy. They receive continuous direction from their command vessel. That explains their reaction when we damaged their flagship, Eli realized. The other ships seemed disoriented until they established a new command hierarchy. Exactly, Valentine's image nodded. And now we have a plan to exploit this weakness, but it requires your team to undertake an even riskier mission. The plan was audacious. Wang had developed a virus that could infiltrate the Krell command network and corrupt their entire communication system. But someone would need to physically upload it into their flagship's central processor. You want us to board the Krell command vessel? Eli clarified, his expression grave. Your team has more experience with their technology than anyone else, Valentine said. Meanwhile, the Horizon will create a diversion using our newly refined Prometheus cannons and the data we've gathered on their shield frequencies. Eli exchanged glances with his team. They were exhausted, operating on minimal sleep and rations scavenged from captured Krell supplies. But they also knew what was at stake. We'll need a better insertion plan than our previous operations, Eli said finally. Their flagship will be more heavily guarded. Already working on it, Valentine replied. We've decoded their identification protocols. Wang believes we can modify your scout ship's transponder to broadcast as a returning patrol vessel. Timeline? Eli asked. 48 hours, Valentine answered. That's how long until the Krell command ship moves into position for the next phase of their attack. After the transmission ended, Eli gathered his team. This mission is strictly voluntary. Anyone who wants out can transfer back to the Horizon. No one moved. Then let's get to work, Eli said, a grim smile forming on his weathered face. The following day was spent in meticulous preparation. Ryota and Zoe reconfigured the scout ship's transponder while Wei created more convincing Krell environmental suits from materials salvaged from their previous operations. Eli studied the schematics of the Krell flagship that the Horizon sensors had mapped during their initial encounter. The central processor would be deep within the vessel, heavily protected by both technology and Krell warriors. I've been analyzing their internal communication patterns, Ryota reported, showing Eli a complex diagram on his tablet. They use quantum-paired devices for instantaneous communication across their fleet, but the system requires periodic synchronization with the central hub. Can we use that? Eli asked. Ryota nodded. If we time our approach during a synchronization window, their security protocols will be momentarily relaxed to accommodate the data transfer. How narrow is that window? 3 minutes, maximum. Eli grimaced. Tight, but workable. 20 hours later, their modified scout ship approached the massive Krell flagship. In the distance, brilliant flashes of energy marked the Horizon's diversion. Captain Valentine was engaging multiple Krell vessels with precisely calibrated attacks designed to draw attention without risking destruction. Entering synchronization window in 30 seconds, Zoe announced, her voice steady despite the tension permeating the bridge. Transmitting false identification now, Ryota added. Eli donned his modified Krell environment suit. If we're not back in 20 minutes, get clear and rendezvous with the Horizon. The scout ship's docking procedure went smoother than expected. The Krell were indeed distracted by the Horizon's attacks and the ongoing synchronization process. Eli led his team, Ryota, Zoe, and 2 security officers, through the airlock and into the alien vessel. The interior of the Krell flagship was unlike anything human eyes had witnessed before. Corridors seemed to shift and pulse with bioluminescent patterns. The atmosphere, though breathable according to their analysis, carried an electric charge that made human hair stand on end. This way, Ryota whispered, following the signal on his modified scanner. Central processor should be 3 levels down. They moved cautiously through the shifting passageways, occasionally pressing themselves against walls as Krell crew members hurried past, too preoccupied with the ongoing battle to question the presence of what appeared to be their own kind. Time check, Eli murmured. 7 minutes elapsed, Zoe replied. Synchronization window closed 2 minutes ago. They reached a massive chamber dominated by what appeared to be a crystalline structure that pulsed with patterns of light and energy. Tendrils of shimmering material extended outward, connecting to various conduits and systems. That's it, Ryota breathed, while momentarily overriding his professional detachment. Their central processor. It's beautiful. Can you upload the virus? Eli asked, positioning himself to watch the chamber's entrance. Ryota approached a console near the base of the crystal structure. I need to find an access point. Give me a minute. The security officers took positions near the entrance while Zoe monitored Krell communications on a handheld device. They're starting to coordinate a response to the Horizon's attacks, she warned. Security protocols are being elevated throughout the ship. Work faster, Eli told Ryota, who was now interfacing his device with the alien console. Almost there, Ryota muttered. Their system architecture is incredibly complex, but the access protocols follow the same patterns we've. A harsh alarm suddenly reverberated through the chamber, the crystalline structure flashing crimson. We've been detected, Zoe warned. The chamber's entrance slid open as 3 Krell warriors rushed in, their forms rippling with agitation. The security officers opened fire immediately, their modified weapons discharging pulses of energy specifically calibrated to disrupt Krell biology. Cover Ryota, Eli ordered, drawing his own weapon and joining the fight. The Krell moved with disturbing fluidity, their forms seeming to flow around some energy bursts while absorbing others. One security officer went down, his suit smoking where a Krell had touched it. 60 seconds. Ryota called out, his fingers flying across his device. The virus is uploading, but their security countermeasures are fighting back. Eli ducked as a Krell warrior lunged at him, firing point-blank into what passed for the alien's chest. The creature convulsed, its liquid metal form momentarily destabilizing before it collapsed. 30 seconds. Ryota shouted above the chaos. Zoe dragged the injured security officer toward their position while the remaining officer continued firing at the entrance, where more Krell were attempting to enter. Done, Ryota finally announced. Virus uploaded and propagating through their network. All around them, the ship's systems began to flicker. The crystalline structure's pulsing patterns became erratic, its color shifting from blue to amber to crimson. Move, Eli ordered, helping Zoe with the injured officer as they retreated from the chamber. Their escape was chaotic, alarms blaring throughout the vessel as systems failed in cascading sequence. Krell warriors moved in confused patterns, some simply standing immobile as if disconnected from their command structure. They reached their scout ship just as the flagship's internal gravity began to fluctuate. Once aboard, Zoe immediately initiated launch procedures while Wei attended to the injured officer. The virus is working, Ryota reported, monitoring the Krell communications. Their entire command structure is collapsing. Ships across the system are losing coordination. The scout ship broke free of the flagship just as massive sections of the Krell vessel began powering down. In the distance, other Krell ships drifted aimlessly or moved in contradictory patterns. Captain Valentine reports similar effects throughout the Krell fleet, Zoe announced, relief evident in her voice. They're disengaging from combat. Hours later, aboard the Horizon, Captain Valentine addressed her assembled crew. The view screen behind her showed the Krell fleet in disarray, some vessels retreating at maximum speed, others still drifting without apparent direction. What we've witnessed today is not a complete victory, she cautioned. The Krell will eventually recover and adapt. But we've bought humanity precious time to prepare, to unite, to develop defenses against this threat. She nodded toward Eli and his team. Commander Torres and his squad have demonstrated what we've always known. Humanity's greatest strength lies not in our technology, but in our adaptability, our resourcefulness, and our unwillingness to surrender even when faced with overwhelming odds. Eli stood straighter despite his exhaustion. They had survived, against all probability, and dealt a crippling blow to an enemy that had vastly underestimated humanity's resilience. As the Horizon set course for Earth, carrying vital intelligence about their new adversary, Eli knew the war was far from over. But for the first time since the attack on Theseus Station, he allowed himself to believe it was a war they might actually win.